Hi everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 3 of the 2024 NRL season. Last week I got 7 out of 8 correct. The only tip I got wrong is I thought that I'd go for Sydney Roosters to beat Manly. That's the only one I got wrong. But let's start off with the tips for round 3. Some very hard games to predict here, but I'll try my best. And the first match to kick off round 3 is on Thursday night. It's between Penrith and Brisbane. This one's being played at Penrith Stadium, and it's the grand final rematch from last year. Between these two sides in the last 10 meetings, it's quite even. Penrith have won 6 games, Brisbane have won 4 matches. Some of these matches have been quite close as well. Even in a couple of them years where Brisbane were doing it a bit tough, the matches were still quite close between these two sides. One of the big talking points of this match will be that Adam Reynolds looks like he won't be playing. From what I could read on NRL.com, he won't be in the team, so that's a massive blow for Brisbane. As for Penrith, James Fisher-Harris has been ruled out with injury, so he won't be playing, and he's very important to the Penrith team. And Jerome Luai can consider himself very lucky to be playing on Thursday night. In most circumstances, for what he did, it would have been a sin bin or potentially a send-off if he played in Super League, or even getting a 1 or 2 week suspension for either the trip or the high tackle on Bailey Simonson, but no charges from the NRL judiciary. For this match, it's a really hard game to call. Both teams are very good, quality sides. However, I am leaning more towards Penrith. If Adam Reynolds isn't there, that's a huge blow for them. And I think Penrith kind of shows that they're slowly starting to get back into the swing of things with the win over Parramatta. So I'm going to go for Penrith to win. However, I wouldn't be surprised if it went the other way. The first match on the Friday is between New Zealand and Canberra. This one is being played at the Apollo Project Stadium in Christchurch. In the past, New Zealand have taken games around the North and South Island. However, with Christchurch, they've only ever played 2 NRL fixtures there. The first were back in round 10 2016, where Penrith defeated them 30 points to 18. And then in the 2018 NRL season, New Zealand defeated Manly 34 points to 18 at Christchurch. From what I can see on the injury list, Jordan Rapiner and Sebastian Kris will more than likely not play because they both had HIA concerns. Corey Horsburgh's still not back for Canberra, and Elliot Whitehead's also out for Canberra. As with New Zealand, they're without Charles Nicoll-Klokstad. Canberra started the year really well, 2 wins in a row, and New Zealand are 0-2. So New Zealand are going to be desperate. They don't want to be 0-3 to start the year after so much promise. This is another really hard match to call. I guess I will go for New Zealand being the home side. I can picture them being 0-3 to start the year, so I will go for New Zealand to win with not much confidence. I'll go for them to win by 1 or 12 points on the Friday. And the main match on the Friday, it's the oldest rivalry in rugby league in Australia. It's also the fiercest rivalry in the NRL. It's Sydney Roosters against South Sydney. This one's being played at the new Sydney Football Stadium. Prior to this game, there's been 231 matches played between these two sides. East have won 106, South have won 120, and there's been 5 draws. However, East have won the last 3 in a row. Now, from what I've read, this is the week that Jack Whiten, who was the main recruit for South this year, coming over from Canberra, after he served his suspension, this is going to be the match that he makes his debut in. I could be wrong, but from what I've read, this is going to be the game, and South really need a player like him in the team, especially when they've started the season 0-2. And with Sydney Roosters, they had a 7-point loss on Sunday against Manly. However, from some of the comments that I've read online, Manly were the dominant team and could have won by more, but somehow Sydney Roosters managed to stay in the match for most of it. So this is going to be a really tough game to call, because when it comes to rivalry matches, form goes out the window. It's just whoever wants it more on the day and who shows up. We've seen sometimes in the past where Souths go into the favourite in this game and end up losing. We've seen some times where Sydney Roosters go in as the favourite and they end up losing. I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was 2020, a lot of people were thinking Sydney Roosters were going to ease the victory over Souths. Souths were kind of up and down towards the back end of that year, and Souths come out and won 60 points to 8, I think, by memory. No doubt this game is going to be very fiery. I expect at least one player to get sin binned in this match. This is such a really hard game to call. Like the previous two ones I've spoken about, could go either way. I've been thinking about it for a while now, who I would side with, and I think I'm going to go for Eastern Suburbs to win this game. I say that with not a lot of confidence though. As I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Souths win this match, but I'll go East to win by 1-12 on the Friday night. And the first match on the Saturday is between Canterbury-Bankstown and the Gold Coast. This one's being played at Belmore Sports Ground. The head-to-head between these two sides in the last 10 meetings, both sides have beat each other 5 times. The last time that Gold Coast played at Belmore Sports Ground, and in fact the only time they've ever played at Belmore Sports Ground in its current incarnation, was in round 15 of the 2018 season, and the Gold Coast won 32 points to 10. The Gold Coast is still without Kieran Foran, Jaden Campbell and David Fafita, and from what I've read, Josh Adokar might return for this match, which will be a big boost for the Canterbury team. Now with the Gold Coast, they come into this match a lot fresher than Canterbury. They had the bye last week. Obviously in round 1 we all know they were humbled and embarrassed at home against St George, so they'll be looking to make amends on Saturday. So that is why I'm going to tip the Gold Coast to win. I'm going to go for them to win by 1-12 points. I think there won't be too much in this, but I just think I have a feeling that the Gold Coast will win on Saturday. The second match on Super Saturday is between St George and North Queensland. This one's being played at Kogarah Oval. North Queensland have played 10 matches at Kogarah in their history. They've only won 3 times there since 1995, and obviously St George's have won 7 times. However, in the last 4 meetings between these two teams, North Queensland's won 4 in a row. From what I've read, Highland Lukey for North Queensland is going to be out for a long time actually with an injury he's sustained against Newcastle. With St George, they were handed the big fat donut up there at Redcliffe, held scoreless. They were brought crashing back down to earth after that impressive round 1 display. As for North Queensland, they're 2-0 to start the year. Very close, hard-fought win over Newcastle. I think going into this game that St George will be pretty much flogged at training, I think, by Shane Flanagan. He won't be happy with that performance at Redcliffe, and they're going to be a tricky opponent for North Queensland. They're going to definitely come out. The defence is going to be very tough. They're going to want to make amends for what happens on Sunday, but I just think that North Queensland have got a bit too much class across the pitch, so I'm going to go for North Queensland to win by 13 plus at Kogarah on Saturday. And the third match on Super Saturday is between West Tigers and Cronulla-Sutherland. This one is being played at Leichhardt Oval. Cronulla have won their last 4 matches against West Tigers in the NRL. The last time that Cronulla played at Leichhardt Oval was in round 25 of the 2019 NRL season. They won 25 points to 8, and I believe Paul Gallen kicked a field goal. I'm not too sure about that one, but I do remember him kicking a field goal, I think, in that game. Cronulla these days don't often travel to Leichhardt Oval anymore, but they have played a few matches there in their history. They've played a total of 65 games. They've won 31, lost 33, and there's been 2 draws. So it's not a place that they exactly go to and lose a lot. They have recorded a few wins there in their history. With West Tigers, they have a few players out still. Some of them haven't made their debuts yet, or some of them are out for extended periods. Justin Olam is still out, Brent Naden, and Starford Toa is also injured, so he won't be playing. From what I've seen in the opening 2 rounds, Cronulla looked quite good to start the year. And as for West Tigers, they had the bye round 1, round 2. They lost by 20 points to Canberra. For this game, I'm going to go for Cronulla to win. I'm going to go for them to win by 1 to 12 points. I think that West Tigers will be a better team this year than what they were the last 2 seasons, but I can see Cronulla win this game, so I'm going to go for them. And the first match on the Sunday is between Parramatta and Manly-Warringah. This one's being played at the Western Sydney Stadium. These 2 sides have met 149 times since 1947. Parramatta's won 57 times, Manly 88, and there's been 4 draws. In the last 10 meetings between these 2 sides, Manly have won 6 out of the 10. However, last year Parramatta defeated them at the Western Sydney Stadium. From what I've read on the injury list, for Manly there's going to be no Tommy Talau, no Tafua Sipley, and no Jason Saab. And as for Parramatta, Bailey Simonson's going to be out, and Kelma Tuolungi is going to be out for a while with that dislocated shoulder after he pulled off probably the hit of the year on, I think it was Liam Martin. Manly start the year 2-0 with Parramatta, 1 win, 1 loss. However, in the game against Penrith, they didn't disgrace themselves, very competitive, but Penrith just had a bit too much at the end of the game and pulled away. With Parramatta, to start the year, the depth in the backs has already been tested. Micah Sivo suspended, now Bailey Simonson out. We'll have to see who they pick for the centre and wing pairings going into this game, but once again, lots of issues with the edge defence and players being caught out. It's going to be a really tight match, I think. I think Parramatta and Manly are both going to be up for this game. It's really hard to call. With me heart, obviously I want Parramatta to win, but because I'm doing these tipping videos and I have to think with me head and try to come up with the best logical answer, I'm going to have to go for Manly to win by 1 to 12 points on the Sunday. And the final match of the round is between Newcastle and Melbourne. This one's being played at Marathon Stadium. Newcastle start the year 0-2, and it doesn't get any easier. They have to play against Melbourne, who were 2-0 to start the year. And Newcastle don't have a great record against Melbourne in recent times. In the last 10 meetings, Melbourne's won 9 of those. However, last year, when Newcastle went on that 10-game winning run, they did beat Melbourne at Marathon Stadium. Newcastle had a very narrow golden point loss against North Queensland up there in Townsville. Their record against Melbourne at Marathon Stadium, though, is quite good overall. There's been 22 matches played. They've won 10, they've lost 11. So there's going to be another big crowd out there on Sunday to cheer Newcastle on. As for Melbourne, they're going to be going into the game with no Cameron Munster, and potentially Nelson Asafa-Solomona won't be there. As for Newcastle, they're going to have no Tuala and no Jack Hetherington. For this match, I would like to see Newcastle win this game, but unfortunately I think that Melbourne will win the match. I'll go for them to win by 1 to 12 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think Melbourne's got a bit too much class for Newcastle, so I'm going to go for Melbourne to win by 1 to 12 points. So that concludes my tipping video for round 3 of the 2024 NRL season. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know who you're tipping, who's going to win in round 3. Thanks to everyone that watched my video last week. It was one of the most watched NRL tipping videos on YouTube. Very much appreciated. But I'll catch us all later in the next video. This has been Rugby League History. Ta-ra for now.